What's up with it, ladies and gentlemen? Hopefully you are having a blessed morning so far. And I've been thinking a lot about what I should come on here and talk about, and I figure it'd be good to tell my testimony, tell what God's brought me from, what God's continuing to bring me from. Wow, that was horrible. And yeah, probably more than likely, as per usual, since I'm be talking about something a little, which I mean, I know I'll get there, but talking something a little more in detail. I probably ain't gonna have the best game to start. But anyways, and whenever it comes to this, I mean, I'm gonna do my best to make it chronologically correct, but at the same time, that's usually not how it goes. I'll just say that. Uh-huh. Come on. Come on with it. See, that's why I can't stand this game. But no, so and of course whatever I say, whatever I talk about is all to point glory to the Father in heaven, our the source that we are all connected with, the source that we all, that we're all a part of. See, recently I was reading about the law of one, and it's kind of interesting because I had theories about certain stuff that came with that, and it was like, and I mean, I'm sure this happened to any of y'all if y'all are kind of on a similar type of path to where you had a hunch and then you just end up coming across the right piece of information that tied it all together. But I was reading about it, and it's just talking about man, freaking campers. I swear, like, learn how to play the game. Which maybe they are playing the game right. But no, it's like, pretty much just the whole thought that everything is interconnected, everything is tied together. We are all one, we are all unified, we are all part of the source, which, people put titles of God, the Father. Um, some people try to say the universe, which I don't do personally, just because the universe to me is a created organism. Yeah, I guess that'll work. But so, anyways, uh, and I just would like to go on record and say it's like, no, I'm not saying none of this because I don't care for your pity. I don't care for anything like that. I care to inform, care to teach. Ah, I'd care to stop getting shot by that same guy. That's definitely one thing. I like that skin. I might have to get that. No, well, maybe. This takes off like I want it to, then yeah, I will definitely start getting skins and start doing stuff like that upon request. But anyways, so I've come on here and I've said a few things about what I've been through. Like, when I was 5, 6, I got molested by my cousin Michael, which, of course, no fault. Yeah, that wasn't smart. No fault to him, of course. I'm not gonna blame him because he himself was the victim. And I think that's one thing that we have to learn as people is that we are all victims of something. We've all been hurt, but it's all a part of the game of life. We're all here to become self-aware about what we do, why we do it. Good thing that dude was not paying attention. Oh, I should have did it. I should have finished him. That would have been a good tie together. But I've talked about that. And I've said things about being poor. Dumpster diving. Abusive stepfather who was a lot worse towards my mother than me by all means. But still, I definitely got my fair share of bullying and harassment and whatnot. That's good. Like getting your head shot off while calling in a score streak. But there's some things like people just don't. I mean, obviously, no one here would know about it, but even people in my personal life, like I don't. share information unless it can be for my Father in heaven's glory. That way it can show people that I've survived a great deal and I'm still able to survive. And, it's just because I continue to do the work. I continue to make the necessary changes in order to facilitate growth. And that's a big issue with a lot of people is that we don't want to change, we don't want to grow. So, I mean, but so I would say basically, I guess I'll start off from when I was a kid. Um, I grew up High Point, North Carolina, mainly. We moved a great deal, when I was 4, 5. We was briefly I lived in Alabama. Um, lived in I don't think I've lived in South Carolina, but I definitely know I've been everywhere pretty much around North Carolina, but High Point is the main facilitator for my growth. There's a lot of trials there, especially being like I grew up in it was either in the trailer parks or in the projects. And with that, I had to learn how to survive. I had to learn how to be street smart, especially being the only white boy. Like I always had a target on my back. Like that was one thing I would always say to people is growing up that way, you kind of had enemies on both sides. The whites didn't like you because you were poor. Blacks didn't like you because you were white. And I mean, also, it's like even me growing up in that system, I was brainwashed to not like certain white people as well, or just country people, or anybody who wasn't from that hood lifestyle or from that gang banging lifestyle, or just from the streets. But and it's like that's one thing that I come to realize is that I didn't have the chance to. I mean, I had a childhood, but I really didn't. For example, like I was 8 years old, give or take. 'Cause like I say, the way how my memories work is it's more. I just have like little reels, pretty much, of key moments where I learned something or where something impacted me. I know some people who remember everything. I know some people remember nothing. So I mean, it's to each their own. But I remember, like, I just remember being young, and I remember, having to go through stuff that I thought was normal, but again, I guess others didn't. Like I was, 6, 7. Well, it was it was for a whole duration, but it was basically 6 to maybe 10. No, no, it was 11. Yeah. So for that whole period, I was sitting there trying to protect my mother from my stepfather and also trying to protect my younger siblings from their father. And I remember like a really pivotal part of that walk was my mom broke my heart. And it wasn't nothing like, of course everybody has misunderstandings. And I mean, now that I'm older, I realize now why she did what she did. But yeah, I remember being 11 and I remember it was no, I was a little older. Actually, let me correct myself. I was probably 12 or 13 because it was after my stepdad and my mom they split. He came down to visit from Virginia, and I remember he was, they were drinking, trying to quote unquote have a good time, which I realized at a young age was not the case because every time someone ended up drinking, it was always a problem. But they were doing that, and I remember, he got drunk and he started getting mad and calling my mom essentially a nigga lover, but he didn't end it with the A. And I won't say the ER. I'm not that kind of person. To me, a nigga's always been like that's my nigga, like that's my friend, that's my boy. But the ER, that's a very hateful filled word. But where he was calling her that, and he was like He ended up going outside and he was like kicking her car, and then he ended up like he kicked her dog once, and then she tried to go out there and pretty much stop him. Go out there, put hands on him, and do whatever she thought was she had to do. And of course, me being who I was, I've always been a protector. Man, I freaking can't stand some people on this game, but I've always been a protector, and I was trying to stop her because I knew what was going to happen. Like I just knew it. Like that's what he did. He put his hands on women, and I mean that's because he's a coward who had to learn how to grow, whatever the case may be. Either way, same result. And I remember I was sitting there and I was trying to stop her, trying to hold her back, and she was trying to push past me. By this time, I was like getting older, so I could kind of actually. That dude's really starting to irk my nerves, but I could actually do something. I couldn't fight him yet, but I could stop her. And yeah, I remember I was sitting there trying to push at her, trying to stop her, and then she's a pow, smacks me right in the face. And I remember as soon as she hit me, it's like something snapped. Dang, freaking nabbit. But I snapped, and I remember like, and it wasn't like a. I'm glad I killed him, but it wasn't even like I. It wasn't anger in the sense of, in the sense of it hurt. It was just, yeah, the heartbreak. And like that, it really did break me. Like I didn't go around mother for damn near a year because of it. And still, when I went around, it was never the same. It was very drastic change in our relationship because you realize, it's like, damn, if your own mother can hurt you, what are, what can all the other women do? You know, especially with someone designed like myself. Like I've always been a hopeless romantic. I've always craved that true love, that storybook ending type thing. But I remember she did that, and it's like, yeah, like it broke me. Like I remember she hit me, and it's like I just dropped my hands. And I like went inside, and I just went and I just laid in the room that I was using for the time being. And like, of course, she tried to go in there, and she tried to, like, somebody kind of forced us to. It was her friend, but she kind of tried to force us to hug and whatnot. But with me, it was like, no, I mean, the action was done. Like the deed was already finished. So like, there was no, there's no taking back what there's no taking back actions once you do it, especially actions made of anger, made in anger. So it was difficult to say the least. But at the same time, it's like I say, my intentions were of the best. Please get him. Then oh, he got me again. Sure. But no, like I said, it's like that right there. It broke something very deeply in me, and from there, I just started becoming worse and worse and worse. I started to cut off my feelings, pretty much kill the heart, silence it, shut it up, because it wasn't working for me no more. Ah, ah, ah. I'm glad that worked out. And and that's one thing that I believe a lot of people are doing nowadays is that they're cutting off the emotional side because they've been hurt too many times, which is completely understandable because this world will hurt us and chew us up, spit us out. But one thing that we don't realize, or at least that no, I'm not trying I gotta stop saying we. The one thing that I didn't realize is when you cut off your heart, you're cutting off that's essentially your guidance to your life. Like your heart's the director to your movie. And of course, yeah, you're gonna get hurt, but you're going to live your life. You're going to experience life. You're going to eventually find a reason for all the suffering. And I know some people say, "Oh, that's just hopeful thinking." Man, how is his turn so much quicker? My sensitivity up. Give me 1 second there, ladies and gents. Yep, all the way up. It's probably because of the gun I'm using. Anyways, oh me. But so from that, I started to become very selfish, and that's what I think heartbreak does. It makes you look out for number one, because again, if you don't look out for yourself, who will? And that's that's like I realized that I I got worse and worse. I lost myself. And when you lose yourself, your heart gets heavy. When your heart gets heavy, you you're a lot more open to other people's guidance. And when you're open to that, you can be led astray very easily. And I've stated before, it wasn't until I started following Christ and the path of Christ that I was able to wake up, able to change myself, able to grow into my full potential. But I had to commit to the change first. I had to experience it first, so that way, I knew what I was doing was correct, but also real. And it's like I realized more and more that people are people all are walking around with either cold hearts or heavy hearts because we don't have purpose no more as a people. We don't have reason to keep on going. People keep using these vain substitutes for purpose when it's going to fail you every single time. And I mean, it sucks that that's the way. I don't really suck, but it's just you have to learn to build a stable foundation, and relying on people, nope, relying on the world to fill you, to fill that void, it will fill you consistently. And that's why we have to find something different, something that works. And for me, so far, it was the path of returning back to source, returning back to the oneness that we are all a part of. Because yeah, of course we all feel separate, we all feel alone, we all feel like there's just something missing, and it's because we're at a stage in humanity to where people are very misguided. Everybody's looking for the wrong people for guidance, like politicians, entertainers, musicians, etc. And dang nabbit. And I mean, of course, it's no fault to our own. We live in a failed system that's meant to keep people at that point. Like, yeah, they don't want us to hit our full potential because if we hit our full potential, something will change. An uprising will happen because we'll all realize that we are very misguided. We are very far from where we're supposed to be. We're missing the mark of humanity. And if you don't grow to become self aware, grow to learn your triggers and why you feel the need to react that you do, and learn to be still, learn the fact that we are all together, we are all unified, we are all in one, and we're going to keep falling short of the mark. We're going to keep being empty, and we're going to keep going on about this life with no purpose. And without purpose, we're going to burn out for sure. Okay, cool. I'm surprised. Wow, I was first. That's crazy. That was a really bad game for me. Or at least I thought it was. But I focused more on KD than skills. That's a cool skin. Good for him. I think that's that down. Like, how does he turn now? It's gotta be the gun. Or he's using a PC or something different too. That could be it. Excuse me. But, I mean, of course, you ain't gotta take my word for it. I'm nobody. Yet I'm everybody. Because I've done the necessary work in order to reach to a point to where I've found peace of mind. I've been able to get through having a broken heart, which my mom is only one instance. Of course, I've had my heart broken 3 different times, and the third time is the one that killed me. That's the one that killed the man I used to be, maybe become the man that I needed to be. Because, of course, with me, like I say, I was a hopeless romantic, so I was always looking for that soulmate ideal. And then I found someone who I thought truly understood me and could understand me. And of course, it fell through the cracks. And with that, like that was the last straw. And I mean, like I said, I've been through a lot. Like molestation. My first fight against somebody was in kindergarten, which I really wasn't a fight. The dude hit me in the face, and I just stood there because I've never liked violence. I don't like confrontation. Which me now, I'm very capable of it, but I was always against it in my character, in my design, and I'm thankful for it now because I know the Most High Father created me that way because I needed to be compassionate. I needed to be considerate. I needed all these different traits in order to help push people to truth. And every one of us has a bit of truth, but we all fail to realize that we all look at truth through only our own lens. So it's like we're trying to look through a door, but all we can see through is the keyhole. And it's like once you grow in your relationship with Christ and you start to follow the teachings of Jesus Christ, you what don't worship him. I'm definitely not saying that. Not at this point in my walk. 'Cause even in John in the scripture, he says not to worship him, but only worship the Father. So you don't want to worship him, but at the same time, you want to follow the blueprint that he laid out for us because he he reached the full potential of what a man is supposed to become or what mankind is. Man, can't stand them damn people. Please, Peter. Mm. But no, he reached the full potential that he was supposed to, and because of that, people started worshiping him for it, not realizing that he himself is just another worker for the guidance of humanity. And I mean, some people, there's a lot of people won't agree with me because, that's where initially for a long time, that's what I did. I worshiped him. But that dude, he's never gonna be there. But, mm, dang, man, I'm really sorry. Not good, no good. Here, I gotta lock in. But no, it's like I was misguided, as we all are. I failed to see the big picture in times. And of course, I think that right there is the whole reason why the system is designed like it is. Because they don't want us to see the big picture. Because if they realize that we are all interconnected and we are all a part of the source, then we will consciously grow and the system will change. Because if you can control the consciousness of what people believe, or you control their reality. And if you can control their reality, then it puts us, I mean, if people believe it, then that becomes the truth. And you know, like, oh, I gotta find the words. It's like we are all at a point to where it's like reality, we desperately need change, but this system has done nothing but promote comfort, staying exactly where you are because you're fine as you are, and that's a load of crap. Because you're not fine how you are. If you were fine how you were, you'd have peace of mind. You'd have a sound heart, or you'd have a sound mind and peace in your heart. There you go. But nobody has that anymore. Everybody is essentially pissing in the wind, and then they're like, "Oh, why am I getting pee on my leg?" Like, yeah, because you're doing something wrong. You need to find understanding and purpose in this reality and learn to understand yourself, because the more you understand yourself, the more you can return back to the source of our power, which is our Father who's in heaven. And if you don't return to the source, you don't return to that God frequency, then you will continue to be without love. You will continue to fail and you will continue to fall short because you do not have a stable foundation. There's a couple scripture that I'm very fond of. And it's seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all things shall be added unto you. So that's the first step. The second step, or not second step, second scripture is that the kingdom of heaven is within us. And both of these things were said by the Christ Jesus. And when you realize that the kingdom of heaven is within us, then it's like, why is everybody forcing everybody to go to these buildings, to church, and to serve this book or to worship these ideas instead of experiencing God personally? Because that's what it is. It's personal. Everybody's everybody's situation is personal because only you can fix your soul. Only you can fix yourself. Only you can change yourself. Ooh-wee. I know they're mad. Oh, dang, man. Every time that damn reload be getting me. I be reloading too prematurely. But we all fall short, but we all are also, and that's the part of the human experience, is to fall short, is to essentially go into a fallen state so that way we can remember who we are, because that's all a part of the path. That's all the fun of the game is you forget who you are so that way you can remember, you can relearn, you can essentially become who you were always meant to be, who you were designed to be. Because, and most people, to me, it's like a video game. Most people are on level 1. Most people will stay and die on level 1. And when that happens, and again, this is my belief, take it or leave it, I don't care. If you don't change and you don't get out of the levels and you don't master self, you're going to get put right back into this system. You're going to reincarnate as it'd be a different name and different details. Did I get over? Look at there. First again, man, not bad. But we reincarnate into the system because we have a heavy heart. And, I think that was a big thing with the story of Jesus, is the fact that they made it so we worship him, especially with Paul's doctrine. It makes it so that we rely just on faith in him to get us saved. And that's why even Jesus himself said that I didn't come to destroy the law, but came to fulfill it. We have to do the work. We have to make the changes and begin to realize the self So that way our hearts aren't heavy when we go to leave. Because if you have a heavy heart, that means you have fleshly attachments. And if you have fleshly attachments, that means that you pretty much have unfinished business. So you have to come back, and then yeah, the beings that are here are gonna keep ciphering your energy and then keep you trapped. Because it's a spiritual battle we in, and every one of us has these demons attached to us. And there's like a all you can eat buffet for y'all, because now everybody is just, oh yeah, this is how I was born. I should be this way. It's okay how I am. And that's crap. Capital C. And again, believe me, don't care. Uh, it's hold on. I don't want need to burn fire. That I don't need that. Sure. But anywho, so we're all in a state of just everybody's like lost. Everybody is missing the mark. And because of that, everybody's going to continue to have to keep going through the same crap over and over and over and over and over and over and over up until you learn to do something different. And again, believe me, don't believe me. That's on you. It's your life. It's not my job to make you believe truth. It's my job to tell you the truth. You accept it, you do. You don't, then it's on you. 'Cause again, we're in a reality to where the Most High gave us free will, so that way we can make our choices. We can serve who we want to serve. We can serve ourselves, or we can serve the greater good. And people are like, oh, I blame the devil. Like, no, it's you. You're the problem. You're not changing. You're not growing. You're not doing what you need to do because you don't want to change. You enjoy the sin, but also people fail to realize that they are a slave to the sin, and that's why even Jesus said that my burden it's easy, the way it's light. It's not really that hard. I mean, it is, but after you get through the battle, after you get past the lesson, the after you learn the lesson, the problem or the circumstance that has been keeping you down will go away. Again, it's all about going through the levels. You have to learn and growth. I mean, okay, so consciously it's different. So consciously, I think there's 7 systems that we have to go through. They're tied, say if it's the 7 planetary energies, or 7 chakras, the 7 deadly sins. Like it's in a big number for sure. But and nowadays we again we blame everything besides ourselves, and that's a problem because we need accountability in order to grow. We need to be different so that we can see difference. Like you can't like to do the same thing over and over and expect something different. That's literally the literal definition of insanity, and that's how it is. Everybody is insane in today's reality. Ah, I mean, I might have lost that battle, but I can't stand when they freaking get double team. At least I got revenge. But that's why even like certain things like forgiveness that Jesus preached, because we don't forgive, we deal with it. The other person, they don't know, nor do they care. They're going about their life, they're doing their own thing and whatever else. And because of that, we're the ones who carry around that weight, which eventually is something that we have to deal with. And I mean, even me, okay, so and again, you can really judge me if you want to. I don't really care. But because I was messed with by my cousin, I was sexually activated at a very young age. And due to that, I tried things with my best friend, but also my immediately younger sister. And I mean, it wasn't like I forced anything. It was just more of, let me show you what I learned type thing. As a kid, that's kind of how it goes. I mean, we don't realize what we do. And that's the issue with most people is that most people are kids. They're big kids, but they're kids nevertheless. Every time that damn freaking two guys. But we're all kids nevertheless. We're all children in the eyes of the Most High God. And because of that, we, excuse me, but we don't realize why we do what we do. People don't understand that they're just copying their parents, or they're copying their friends, or they're copying the environment they grew up in. But either way, it puts us in a state to where we miss the mark, and then our egos get hold of these. The ego gets tied to the choices that we are forced to make in peer pressure type situations or whatever the case may be. And because our ego gets attached, tie we tie that to our identity. And because of that, we feel a need to stand on the choices that we've made, not understanding that us identifying with these choices, identifying with the self is a big aspect of our problem. Because most people, yeah, that's the issue with people nowadays is we all worship ourselves. We don't worship greater good. We don't worship, essentially the source or the creator that brought us all into being. And, so I oh, these dudes and these damn grenade launchers. That's just seems like it's been a new thing on this game is people being ass mites with a grenade launcher. Excuse my language, but I really don't get convicted for saying those words because, I don't there's no hate in my heart, not at this point. And they're just words. I mean, hell, I can call somebody a fairy and but the intention or the feeling in my heart's incorrect, then either way it'll be the same difference. Same thing like there's a big thing that I do is people are a little slow or they do something slow, I call them a genius. It's just that sarcastic, ironic, like reverse, like oh yeah, reverse psychology. Not really, but same idea almost. But because of that, like I did that to my sister, and I mean, of course, I reached out to her and I've apologized because it was something that was heavy on my conscience, and only each one of you, or only I can fix my consciousness. Only I can fix my mind. Only I can change my heart, change my way of thinking. And because of that, I mean, we have to face uncomfortable situations. But once we get through said uncomfortable situation, we become new people. We grow, we change, we evolve into what we were always meant to be. And that's a big issue. Is no one has the purpose no more. No one wants to change. Everybody's okay with where they are. Because in today's world, there's all these outside things to keep us comfortable, but at the same time, that comfort is killing everybody's progress, everybody's purpose, everybody's true intention, which is self-awareness. We have to become self-aware. You don't become self-aware, you'll never get back to the source. You'll never understand who you are, who you were meant to be, or why you were meant to be, or anything of the sort, because this system that we live in needs each and every one of you. This system that we live in needs you to hit your full potential because, even though I see truth. I'm not seeing what you've learned in your life because you have a different perspective. So, as an example I use to where we can both be looking at a car drive by, you can notice the paint job because that you're artistic, you see the beauty that's in the colors, which I've grown to learn because younger me, I definitely I couldn't be creative at all, which I think is a big issue with today's world because, the feminine aspect of our energy has been severely, what's the word? Neutralized? No. Well, I mean, like, yes, but no, that's not the word I'm looking for. Ah, got greedy. But thank you. What a taint circle. But we all, we're all just have grown to be we're reliant on being comfortable, not realizing that discomfort is what pushes growth. And that's, even like in today's world, like, uh, where you should shoot 3 times and you miss. No. But whenever I swear, hmm, younger me, boy, I tell you what, I'd be raging right now. And that's the thing also, it's like people, oh, man. But we fail as a people to realize that also it's like even after you stop doing stuff, the temptation's still gonna slightly be there. It won't be nowhere nearly as strong. And if you want to beat any temptation, it's all through patience because every single temptation comes in a moment of weakness. And that moment of weakness is literally that it's a moment. And if you learn that, if you realize how temporary this world actually is, find something to distract yourself. Something healthy to distract yourself. Like me, I was a pothead, so like I would just smoke, sit there and just kind of waste away. Which, I mean, it was fun for its season, but after a while, I realized it was killing my growth. It was slowing me down to who I should be, who I needed to be, who I have to be for each and every one of you, which is also each and every one of me. I mean, you are me, but you're not me. If that don't make sense, I know. Sounds retarded. But we are all, like I say, we are all interconnected. We are all a part of this game. We are all a part of this reality. We are all a part of the source. We all have a fraction of the source inside of us essentially, and we have to rediscover it. Oh wow, everybody just left. I think that's kind of crazy. I wonder why. Dang, I got look at that 3 times in a row. But we have to return. return. We have to return to who we are, and you'll realize it's like when you learn to silence the mind, to shut the ego off. We realize that we aren't our thoughts. We're the we're the force that's observing our thoughts. We're everlasting, the everlasting self that's always in the here. We are always here, no matter what. No matter where you go, you're always here. And we have to learn to detach from here so that way we can be prepared to go there. We have to break the physical bonds in order to reach the eternal the eternal source once again. And I mean, like, Jesus even says these things. And that's things with most Christians. It's like most Christians get stuck on the Pauline theories instead of the Jesus aspect because Paul is it's easy. Oh, just have faith and do nothing. Okay. How are you going to grow? How are you going to change? How are you going to improve? It's like, okay, you're going to go sit in a church twice a week, 3 times a week, do nothing about yourself, think make think that's making you a better person? Like, no, you have to apply what you learn. You have to add unto ourselves the life lessons. And every one of you should have a life lesson that you've learned by now, where it's like a moment hits you and it's like, huh, why didn't I realize that? Why didn't I see that? And then like it's nothing too. You realize that you don't really learn it. You more remember it. And with that, it's because I come to realize that um a couple years back maybe. And I realized that no, I wasn't learning anything. I was remembering the stuff that it's like I just kind of forgot along the way, or remembering stuff that I mean, even if it like wasn't even taught to me, because everything that is and everything that ever was is already set in stone. Like it's already done. Because our Father who's in heaven, he's outside of time. He's outside of his creation. Now he's also in his creation. That's the thing with being the omnipotence aspect of him, is that he he's intertwined in it all, but he's also outside of it all to the point where it's like he's watching the game from another perspective. And most people, of course, like I say, we only see life from our own viewpoint, and because of that, we miss the mark. We're missing pieces, and now it's like we're at a point in society to where people can't talk no more. They introduced cell phones in the earlier 2000s, and then after that, of course, they just slowly started to change people. They made people comfortable, and then bam, COVID came, and now nobody can talk to each other. Everybody's uncomfortable with conversation. Everybody's uncomfortable with confrontation, and it's like, man, we're we're losing the battle, and these guys are just laughing at us. Really? Damn, I was hoping I would at least get him. Come on, I seen you over there. Oh, but I didn't see you. But we're all falling short because we're all too damn proud and we're all too egotistical in order to learn anything because we'd rather be like, oh, I'm right, instead of admitting we're wrong, instead of admitting that we need to ask questions, instead of doing something different than what our parents did and our parents did, and everybody around us. And I think now out of at least my whole lifespan, but in history in general, it's like people need help. People want help. People are getting okay with asking for said help, but we're all seeking help from the wrong source, from the wrong perspectives, because they've been corrupted. They're not for the forces of good, they're for the forces of evil. They're more about self-worship than, you know, pushing society towards the greater good. I gotta stop looking at that. I got locked in again. But I mean, it's not, and this ain't a message that anybody's gonna take or everybody's gonna accept. But I can tell you from experience, once I was lost and now I'm found. I was blind at once and now I see. That is a very true statement. And whenever it comes to like the ideas behind Jesus, like that's why everybody screams that Jesus saves. And that's because they give us enough truth to where we can change a little bit, but not enough to wake up and to overpower the system. And that was the thing that always kind of was, it always struck me as odd. It's like, okay, so, and again, this right here is going to be a little controversial, but bear with me. So the King James Bible, right? Woo, boy. I tell you what. I love my mind sometimes. It's like now that I've started to learn myself, boy, it's like the potential ain't nothing like it. But anyways, I can't stand them type of players. Let's see if I can get them. Or not. Okay, that works. But oh damn, I lost my train of thought. Hold on. Uh-huh. Okay. So it's like I said, I've been able to essentially reach closer to my full potential. I'm not there yet. And honestly, like I said, I don't think the path of growth ever ends. But there's definitely like a major checkpoint that we can get to if we make the right changes and do the necessary approaches. But when it comes to the King James Bible, it's like, man, y'all believe that this guy who was a king would give people a way to overthrow the king? So even Jesus himself said, you know, um, to, not don't, with the church and not to trust the church, not to like we don't need the church. And also it said you have to be warned because there's spiritual wickedness in high places. And originally, I think before King James even changed it, it said that it was in the government, it was in the politics. Of course, he changed it up because he wanted to control us. Because again, that's the whole point, is to keep us under control and to keep us divided instead of keeping us in a sense of love, in a sense of unity, in a sense of purity, almost. Because man, I mean, of course, we all fall short, we all sin, but we all also we're all. I mean, that's a part of the human experience. We have to you have to do bad so you can understand good. You have to experience good so you can understand bad. And then after you get to those 2 points, you realize that that's really all that, like, because even in the yin and yang symbol, and of course symbols are very big. It's a window to help decode this reality that we live in. But in the yin and yang symbol, there's a little bit of light in the darkness, a little bit of darkness in the light. Nobody's fully one or the other. But that's because without one, you cannot have the other. And you cannot learn good and bad without having light and dark. So we're here to learn, we're here to make choices, and we are here to find out who we serve. Do we serve ourself, which is the lower mind state, which is essentially essentially hell mind state, or do you go to the heaven mind state? Do you resonate on the higher frequencies? Do you go off the higher energy like love, compassion, happiness, joy? I mean, these things that everybody seems to want them, but nobody wants to do the work to get them. That's like I say, believe me not, I do not care. I do not care because I know what I know to be truth. I know that I shot that guy right in the face. No, I didn't actually. But I know that I've I've experienced it to the point where I once didn't have peace, to where I was on the verge of taking my life because again, I don't care for it. I don't care for the flesh things. I don't care for the lustful things. I don't care for the stuff because all of it's emptiness and it's vanity at the end of the day. It's like, yeah, okay, it's fun for a season, but how do you feel afterwards? After you have that random hookup with somebody, it's like, oh, yep, now you feel empty. Now you feel used and abused. And it's like, oh, why would he do that? It's him, it's this, it's that. It's like, no, you did it. you made the choice to hook up with that person. You made the choice to exchange your energy in a very sacred type of ritual. And instead of being accountable, you want to point the blame at someone else so you can keep on doing it. Not realizing that, nah, you're hurting yourself. Well, give it to daddy. That was smart on his behalf. And again, you don't have to believe me, but if you're listening, I can guarantee you feel something's off in your soul. You're missing that peace that you crave. You're unable to silence your mind and actually be still in the moments. And that's the thing. It's like now everybody's life is just zipping by and they don't realize why. And it's like because you're unable to stay in the moment anymore. You're too caught up in chasing the flesh and running after these desires instead of being still, taking heed of your life, and being different. Ever been freaking God laying down? Oh, I swear to fire toe, boy. Oh, where was? Oh, he was over here. Ahoy. Thank you, guys. Thank you, too. Thank you. That's a good game to end off with. But, anyways, and like I say, take my word, don't. But if you want to have a peace of mind, truly real peace, not that fake crap that the world promotes, but real peace, take heed to what I'm saying. Sit on the thoughts that I'm promoting. 'Cause even if you see, like, even in religion, like, all religions are interconnected. Every religion, it's like, yeah, they all kind of tell the same stories. They all tell the same thing. Guys like Buddha, guys like, Krishna, Jesus. I mean, they all pronounce unity, love, self-awareness, purpose. But today's world is like, nah, they don't want to do that. They don't want to be unified. They'd rather, excuse my French, bitch and moan and cry about where the life is instead of, be like, oh, I need to change. I need to be different. Again, you can't see different unless you're different. You can't see change unless you change. It's all about changing your mindset and how you approach these different hurdles that come in life, because they're going to keep coming, and you're going to see the same lesson over and over again until you realize what it's trying to teach you. Look at there, shooter! Man, I wish I would have got 40. That would have been cool. Look at that, and that was like, yes, sir. How's that for a last game for you? What? Wubba-lubba-dub-dub. No, I'm just kidding. I don't watch Rick and Morty. Or not anymore. Obviously, I have. I wouldn't know the reference. But, no, they changed the actors, and I was done with it. But no, I'm for real. Sit on what I say. Think about it. It's all interconnected. Look up the law of one. Or, in Hermeticism, look up as above, so below. It's all intertwined. We just have to learn to see it that way. We have to get out of this duality state of mind, and we have to step into the fullness of who we were meant to be. But thank you for your time. It's much appreciated. I hope the best for your own personal battle. Questions, comments, concerns, let me know. Like, subscribe, and, peace and love to you.